Hey guys, welcome back to Horsepower Warehouse. I'm Junior, and today I wanted to give you guys a roughly halfway through update on our 73 Challenger that we're doing a Hellcat conversion on. I know a lot of you guys have probably watched our unboxing video of the Hellcat motor, but now I've actually got it in the car and some of the components fitted, so I figured I would do an update video for you guys and show you where we're at with it right now. So as you can see, she sits in here really nicely. We have the new Champion 4-core aluminum radiator with the outlets in the correct position for both the lower and the upper. You can see that I have the intercooler reservoir mounted in addition to the intercooler pump down there, and we did do a Bosch made in Germany pump. It was highly regarded. Again, highly regarded is the Mopar engine controller unit. This thing has absolutely been a breeze to work with for us. Supercharger coolant pump. It's got all the wiring with weather pack connectors and grounds, and just everything that you would want in a comprehensive engine package. I mean, this thing has absolutely met my expectations. We're still working with the AC lines to try to make these look a heck of a lot better. Of course, we have the intercooler inlet and outlet that we were dealing with, in addition to this temperature sender, which is very close to this firewall, so we're probably gonna get a 45 degree on that, so that way we could kick it that way. Another concern that we had on this car was the alternator, and as you guys can kind of see down here, we had to notch out the frame just about half an inch to clear this alternator. Luckily it didn't go into the rail section, it was just into the pinch weld, so we were able to TIG weld it and, you know, reinforce it. That way we were able to notch it out and get the required clearance. Speaking of clearance, you can see down here our oil filter relocation is very close to the K-member. I have enough room that I could stick my finger underneath it, but we did fit it in there with no clearance issues. Of course, we used Russell and fittings and black braided line on all of our oil cooler, and you can see our filter relocation. Of course, we mounted it so that way when you take the filter off, the oil drains down and not all over your K-member, making a big mess. We don't have the fans in yet. I'm still waiting on those to come in from Champion. But we do have a set of 1000 CFM 12-inch fans coming. Of course, this car has air conditioning, and the Mopar kit wants that signal so that it knows when to fire the fans. So when you turn on the AC, the Mopar kit can regulate the fan with that, in addition to temperature on the motor. So it's a really nice kit. You can see we are using black AN fittings on everything. Dash 12, which is 3/4 inch on all of our intercooler. You can see down here we have our Fluidine mounted up, and it's looking really nice. We kind of scorched the top of the sticker a little bit there when we welded on the tabs, but it looks awesome. What we're probably going to do for the customer as well is, because it has this kind of floating Challenger emblem here, we're going to make a tab off of the intercooler so that he can put a Hellcat decal or emblem somewhere in this area. We're still kind of figuring that out. Also, you'll notice here we have a pretty large transmission cooler. This is a dual pass cooler. I think it's a 14-inch to try to keep that torque flight transmission alive. Before, they actually had it routed into the radiator, and this radiator does have the provisions for the transmission cooler, but I don't like using that on high performance applications because of course your coolant is heating your transmission, which is absolutely something you want to stay away from. We're trying to keep the heat out of it, so with this dual pass it'll take care of that. What else? The oil cooler itself, you can see we have up under here, and it is going to be actually covered by an aluminum shield with Zeus fasteners. I'll take you around to the back and show you some of the components that we have. Wilwood brakes just showed up. So this is master cylinder and the rear kit. You can see the difference in the tank's powder coated tank, which is actually made for an EFI. It's got a separate EFI provision in addition to the sending unit provision, whereas before they had this kind of garage made tank where they welded all this together. It was an absolute nightmare, and they were using the pickup on the side for the nitrous feed. Have some nice stainless 409 stainless pipes here, or maybe no, 304 stainless. The Kooks mufflers, which are absolutely works of art. They're beautiful. A true straight through design, so this thing's going to sound pretty awesome. Aeromotive fuel pump wiring kit, which is not actually going to be necessary because the Mopar unit includes that. Tailor for the battery relocation. You can see all the Russell and fittings that we haven't used yet. I'm also a really big fan of the Dei Exhaust Wrap. This is their full kit. It has two 50-foot rolls. You can kind of see what it looks like when you have it all wrapped up. This does an excellent job of heat insulation. Originally, my plan with the exhaust manifolds was to use the Hellcat OEM exhaust manifolds that would come on a Challenger, Charger, and it's basically the same for an SRT8, I believe, as well. The issue is on the driver's side, the primary on number one is hitting the steering box, and I'll show you guys over here. Extremely close. There is no clearance whatsoever. So we tried to take the stainless shield off of it just to see how much more clearance it was going to be able to afford me, and it's still, I mean, it's sitting probably about there. So we have no room at all. Luckily, I did a little bit of research. The 6.4 liter Jeep SRT8 manifolds are a direct bolt-on for the Hellcat motor. In terms of flow, they are absolutely capable of flowing 1,000 horsepower, so we're not going to have any issues there. And most importantly, it's a log style manifold, which gives me a lot more clearance on the driver's side, so we're just going to use that on both sides, so that way everything is equal. And it has the O2 provisions in the correct spot, so we're not going to have any issues there. Also, you guys can notice the rear brakes that I took off of this thing, super small. This is like something I'd see on a street bike. I mean, and I think this is a 9-inch rotor, so I mean, that's probably the smallest brake pad that I've taken off of a muscle car. What else? We have these big stainless flanges. These things were like 40 bucks a piece. Phenix wiring boxes. I like to use these to tidy up all my terminal connections. We also have these ring style, so that way I can have everything in a unified place. I run everything through a bus connector, AMG 300 amp at the back, so that way all of my wiring from the battery forward is protected through a fuse, so we don't have the car burn down or anything like that. You want all of your circuits to be completely protected by fuses or circuit breakers. It's very important. And I'll just give you guys another quick shot of all the clearance. We're going to relocate the expansion valve here. The original intention with the intake was to use this SRT intake from a 2018 Charger. Unfortunately, I don't have nearly enough room to do so, so I'm going to put a carbon fiber 4.5-inch tube to probably about here, and then have a K&N filter with a filter cover over it. I am doing research on CFM flow requirements, so that way I'm not starving this engine of air, but I'm sure that I'll be able to fit a large size K&N filter in this area, so we won't have any issues there with airflow. Just walking back around, you can see the engine that came out. We have it all crated up for the customer. This Milodon pan did not work on the Hellcat motor because in the front there's actually a bulge out right here where the sump connector is on the Hellcat motor. That's not the same on other Gen 3 Hemis. Something to note if you're going to do one of these conversions. You can see the NOS kit I have all unbolted, and the customer is going to take that and get it away from the car. We don't really need it for this. It's going to make enough power as it is, at least for now. But I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thank you for joining me. Please consider liking, subscribing, and until next time, take care.